Touring America.
Actually at Heathrow.
In Dallas.
Middle of Houston.
Louisiana.
Florida.
In Georgia.
In Thomasville. I've just arrived at Atlanta.
North New York.
Colorado as well.
Hi, my name's Charlie Thorburn. Welcome to Mordor Gun Dogs. We're going to document a recent trip I've just done to all over the United States delivering dogs. I took 9 dogs. I started in Dallas, then I went to Houston, then I drove to Florida and Georgia. So I went via Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana. Then I went up to New York and Connecticut, and then we had a dog also going to Colorado. So this is just a little video showing the trip. Some of you may have followed it on Instagram. For those who didn't, I hope you find this interesting. And this is something we do on a regular basis, a few times a year, hopefully. And I hope you enjoy watching.
Hi, I'm Charlie Thorburn. Welcome to, well, Mordor Gun Dogs, but we're actually at Heathrow. Just going to introduce you to some of the dogs, where they're going, who they are, and we're going to let them have a run in the paddock down here at Air Pets. So in here we've got Peggy and Ditto. Peggy's off to Houston, Texas, and Ditto is off to Vail, Colorado. Peggy, Ditto, Ditto, good girl. Wait. In the Cocker Spaniel box, we've got Triad, who's going to be catching, his new name is Nutmeg, and he is off to a very old client of mine, my original Texas customer. We've got Bingo, who's a 1-year-old chocolate cocker. He's off to Houston as well. And then we've got the youngster, is little Gunner, who's off to sort of North Florida, Georgia border. Wait. They're bursting to come out. But we've still got to abide by the rules, okay? Wait. Come on then. Come on then. Come on then. Under here we've got Aaron, who's going to be dog number 4 of a very old customer of mine in Millbrook, New York. She's going to get a lot of working. She's probably going to do the most working out of any of these dogs. And with her is Tetris, who's going to another old customer of mine. He's in Dallas. This is his 3rd dog from me. And she's got big shoes to fill, because his other dog, he said to me the other day, that's the best dog I've ever had in my life. And he's had a lot of dogs, both gun dogs and sheep dogs. So we've got Aaron, the red one, and Tetris, the black one. Aaron. Out. And last, certainly not least, we've got little Sugar, who's a pale yellow, quite an unusual dog from us. We don't do many yellow Labradors. She's off one of my best dogs. She's off Nike, is her mum, and Nike is off Chino. So very much many generations of our dogs. All of these dogs are. And in with her, we've got Goose. So Sugar is going to the middle of Texas, kind of in the middle of nowhere, and Goose is going to New York, and he's a black Labrador boy. Come on then. Out. Come on then. We left at 4, but I've been to, I dropped off her sister in Oxfordshire. So we're there for about an hour and a half. So we're here at Air Pets. We just got all the dogs out for a nice run. They've all gone into their kennels. We're going to feed them in a minute. Just got to go and do the boring bit, the paperwork. All of the dogs going off to America, we've been very kindly supplied with a little box of goodies by Dog and Field, who've now got an American website too, so you can order things in America as well as in the UK. So we've got whistle, lanyard, lead, dummies, all to go to their new homes with. So thank you very much to Dog and Field. That's really kind of you to give us, or more to the point, give our dogs these little kind of going away presents. So in the box we've got our Acme 211.5 whistle, which you will see in every video that we're all supporting. We've got a small dummy. We've got a nice slip lead for the dogs as well. And we've got a pheasant. Yeah, a pheasant dummy. Is it a pheasant? A hen, and we've got a hen pheasant dummy as well, which really gives the dogs something a bit more interesting to pick up than a normal training dummy, because it's got the head and the tail. Make sure they get hold of it in the middle. So we like things like this. Keeps them on there, keeps them paying attention to how they pick up the bird rather than by the corner of their mouth. So thank you, Dog and Field.
It's so funny, every time I come through the airport, my dog training dummies that I have in my bag get flagged up as security, and they pull them out and they're like, what is that? And it's just like a dummy filled with sand and there's half a dozen in my bag, and people are like, why do you carry that? Because they look like a weird bag of some weird material. Every single time I get pulled up, and I'm like, I know what you're finding my training dummies. One of the ladies from the cabin, the air crew, has just come on and just told me that the dogs are on board, and so we're good to go. I get in a bit of a pickle if the plane starts taking off and I don't know the dogs are on board. So they're on board, on our way to Dallas. Just spoken to my children, who are not going to see me for a few weeks, and little Jack, age 4, has said, don't worry Daddy, I'll do some of your jobs for you. So I think Mordor Gun Dogs is in good shape while I'm away, because Jack is on it. It's pouring rain. Just pick up my hire car, but actually in true Dallas style, and I'm pretty lucky when I come here. I think I've been off the plane for like 35-40 minutes. I've got out of the airport through customs on a bus to the rental car place, and everything in America is just massive. And I'm trying to get my car, which, you know, when in Texas, you gotta get a truck. So really this is to make Joe, who does our filming, jealous. He wanted to come with me and film, and he said, I'll be your driver. This is my truck. I needed a big space for all the dog boxes. But bear in mind, I'm 6'3". That is my chest there. There's a big old truck. Let's hit the road. This is pretty crazy, but hey, the roads are big, so off we go. And the great thing about this, there's loads of back seats, loads of space in the back for the dogs. Not that I'm working for Dodge or anyone else, but all these big pickups, it's great for getting dogs in the back. We can get all of them in the back there if it's raining still. So I've got all the doggies and all their empty boxes. Ooh, can't find it quite. Like, all their empty boxes in the pickup bed. Dogs are all in here. The idea was we come to Texas, hire a pickup, and the dogs could be in their boxes in the back. But obviously it's absolutely lashing with rain, Scotland style. It's off the charts. I've got absolutely soaked already. I don't have a jacket. I'm totally unprepared because I came thinking, oh, it's nearly May in Texas and it's going to be lovely and just lovely weather, and you know, I'll need a pair of shorts, and instead I've got soaking wet feet, soaking wet shirt. Anyway, I have come to PetSmart. I'm going to pick up some new some dog beds for them, just because their beds are a bit wet, and I think one or two of them have had a wee, sadly, on their way. And I'm going to get some dog food so they can all get fed. They can all get fed. So let's go to PetSmart. So first night in the US, unfortunately one of my clients who I was meant to stay with, his wife is not very well. So I checked into a little hotel. I think it was like 50 quid a night, and managed to park the car right outside the door, and then I brought the dogs in their crates inside the room, which is probably not ideal for the hotel rules, but it is what it is. Not going to leave them outside, not going to leave them in the car. So anyway, they've been really good. It's 7:30 in the morning, which is amazing. I didn't go to bed till 11:30 US time, so that's kind of almost 6 o'clock in the morning, almost time for me to get up at home and give the dogs their due. They've been good as gold, but we're going to head out for a little walk with them and give them their breakfast and things. Friday morning, my standard breakfast when I'm on the hoof in America, some sort of smoothie. Going down to a shooting club now to give the dogs a run, and then seeing a client. Tetris has been upgraded to the front seat, and the others are in the back. It's too hot to have them out in the pickup now, so having been pouring with rain yesterday, it's now boiling hot today. So me and the dogs have come for a little visit to Dallas Hunting Club, which is also the home of Wild Rose Kennels in Dallas. So I guess they're sort of our competitors, or we're their competitors. Anyway, they were very kind to show me around and allow me and the dogs just to have a little run around. So we've got Peggy and Tetris, Triad, Sugar, and then Bingo, who's just had a run, and then young Gunner, who just had a run, and they're on the lead because I don't want them going in there and getting covered in mud before they come back in my truck. So I'm just off to see a couple of our old dogs, not old dogs, but a couple of previous dogs. I'm on a lovely street in Highland Park, and here they are. Hello girls, hello. Hey June Spoon, hey Rosie, oh Rosie or June Spoon, are you good girls? Rosie, good girl, Rosie, good girl. So it just dropped off Sugar. It's like her house is like the Scottish version of mine. So this is the main road, and in through the ranch gates. So I've dropped off my second dog. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, so probably 11 o'clock at night in the UK. I've dropped off little Sugar, so I've dropped her off at her ranch. They're going to stay with her there tonight, and then they're going to bring her back to Houston tomorrow, and I'm going to catch up with her at her kind of weekday home tomorrow, make sure she's settled in there okay. Unfortunately for Sugar, she had a little bit of a fright when she was on the lead with one of the sons of our clients, so we're going to have to do a bit of work to kind of get her over that. She loves her new mum and she loves her new dad, but she's not quite so sure about the 6'3" plus teenage boys. She's finding them a little bit intimidating, which is funny because Sugar's not that temperament, but you know, that's why we deliver these dogs, because if she'd got out and I hadn't been here, we could have had an awful situation. She was a little bit flighty, and anyway, as soon as she saw me again, she was fine, but she was a bit flighty and a bit jumpy, and a situation like that can just turn pretty bad pretty quick. So I said to the owners, this is exactly why I'm here. This is why I deliver the dogs, so that if something like this happens, I'm here to fix it. So we spent a bit of time working with that, and we'll do some more tomorrow, but she's going to be absolutely fine because she's a happy little dog. So we're going on to Houston now, about an hour and a half more driving, and the first drop is to drop little Bingo, who's a chocolate cocker, and then I'm staying with one of the other Cocker Spaniel owners, so we'll drop him off well, we'll introduce him to his new owners this evening a bit later on at like dinner time. So I have left little tricoloured cocker triad in his new home this morning, and I'm heading off to drop off Peggy, the black Labrador. So I've not been to Peggy's house before, so got to go and find that. I just stopped and got my standard morning smoothie and a donut, and it cost me $20. So middle of Houston is not a cheap place to live. So anyway, I will enjoy it very slowly in true Scottish style. Anyway, so we've got two dogs still in the back here, Peggy and then little Gunner, who's coming off to Florida. So we're going to head off on our next morning of adventures, go and see Peggy's owners and see how they're gonna react to her. So we've got Peggy here, being dropped off at her new home in Houston. I just thought before I would go in, I would just let her have a little wee. Peg, good girl. Good girl. Come on.
So I'm finished in Texas. I've dropped off all the dogs. I've been to see some new customers, been to see some old customers, and I've now got a pretty mammoth journey ahead of me of about 700 odd miles, 11 hours in the car, where me and little Gunner are just going to see how we get on, and if we get there in a oneer, we'll do that, but probably we're going to stop somewhere on the way. So it's kind of 11 o'clock in the morning, and which is whatever, middle of the afternoon in the UK, and off we go. So Texas has been great as ever. I do love Texas. I love the people, the attitude, the kind of get up and go. They love our dogs, which is great and handy. All the dogs have settled in, and they're doing better than the owners expect, which is always the challenge. Is set an expectation and then try and beat it. So I just have my team really at home to thank for that, and the dogs just deal with it. They're like, people are like, how do they get on flying? Do you have to sedate them? No, they're just lovely dogs, okay? And they get on the plane, they think they're going in a car on a long journey. You put them in a box and they just go, it is what it is. And away we go. And they travel 9 hours across the pond. They then have a sort of weird existence with me where they're kind of coming and going in different ranches, different people's houses, different people's yards, different service stations where they're getting a pee, and they just kind of go, okay, and they run around for a bit, and then I say, back in the car, and they just jump back in the car, and they're good to go. So they just do so well dealing with it, and it's just never an issue. A couple of them had a little bit of an upset tummy when they arrived, but to be honest, that could have been something they picked up from home and brought with them. I don't, who knows. But they're all over it now, and we've just got little Gunner left in his box there. Although he's probably going to end up the front seat in the next time I stop for fuel. Which driving a 6-litre Dodge Ram doesn't take long before you need to fill it up with fuel. Anyway, so we're basically driving slightly north and east up parallel to the coast, the Gulf Coast, up towards eventually Georgia, but we're going to go through a few other states, Louisiana, and we're going to end up going into Florida, and then we'll go down to the sea. I think probably we'll go down to the sea just because it's pretty. A little place called Destin is kind of where I'm destined for.
That's my plan at some point, maybe later today, or staying the night there, or tomorrow morning, a kind of breakfast or something. But I've been there before, and it's a nice spot. So we went back to Gordy's just now. Gordy's is the most awesome sort of hunting store, so shooting, fishing, kind of store in, well, really probably one of the most, probably the best in Texas easily, and one of the best in America. Tomorrow I'm going to go to, or later this week I'm going to go to Kevin's in Thomasville, which is pretty awesome as well. So I wouldn't want to say either of them were better than the others, but they're both amazing stores. They've got loads of guns and equipment and kit, and just basically a big boys kind of shopping center. And the advantage I have is I'm such a mean Scot that I can't bear to spend any money on anything. So I don't go in there shopping. But Gordy's are very kind to us. They allowed us to be on their stand in an event a couple of years ago, which we're going to do with them again. And we did a little event in their store as well, which we're going to do again in. I was just talking to the manager just now. We're going to do that again in November. So November 2025, we're going to be in Gordy's one weekend with a load of dogs, training tips, meeting potential customers, meeting their current dogs, giving them some advice, etc., and just doing little demonstrations with our dogs. So that could be quite a fun thing. And anyone in Dallas and Houston, we will be letting them know about that before we go, and Gordy's will as well. So that's something to look forward to later this year. And no doubt the time will fly, and I'll blink and I'll be back here in Houston again. But in the meantime, off to one of my other favorite places, Thomasville, Georgia, the quail capital of the South. It was where the train line from New York stopped. So all the New Yorkers, rich New Yorkers, would head south on the train back in the 18 somethings, and they'd end up in Thomasville. The rich ones proceeded to buy bits of land there, plantations, because they had abundance of quail on them. And now it is this sort of mecca for anyone who wants to experience kind of quail shooting traditionally on horseback. We're not going to be doing that this time because it's not in the season, but we'll be back here in November as well to do that again. So that's something I have great privilege that I've done many a time, and we have a number of dogs doing that, and we have some more coming back to do that, more of that in November. I've got 2 or 3 dogs coming down to Thomasville later in the year, so that'll be fun. And it's always just nice to go and visit the existing dogs as well, and of course their owners. People often ask me, do you remember every dog? And the answer is, if you sat me down and said, reel off a list, I'm not autistic and clever enough to remember every single dog. But whenever I see the dogs, obviously I do remember them with a little jar of a memory. It's a bit like a teacher remembering every child. They do remember them when they see them or when they talk about them. But what I do love is the dogs all remember me. And I just visited, and hopefully there's a couple of little short clips. I've just visited a couple of older dogs of mine, Mika, who I think is 8 and 9, and Cubby, who's about 6. And there's no question at all that Mika, 9 years old, knew exactly who I was and was terribly overexcited to see me, which is just really lovely. So she's got a lovely home, lovely life, but she knew exactly who I was, which is great. So we've got a big old drive. I do long drives in the UK. I drive from Scotland to Heathrow on a regular basis. It's about 400 odd miles, nearly 500 miles, and I do it in a oneer. So I've kind of got the similar deal now. It's the thing I love about America is I'm on I-10, which is Interstate 10, heading east, and I basically just sit on this road for hundreds and hundreds of miles. There's no changing roads or anything like that. It's just consistent. This road all the way. It's at the moment, a 6-lane highway full of trucks, etc. And and it just gets smaller and smaller the more rural it gets, and it might end up as a 2-lane, but most of the time it's bigger.
Little Gunner and I have just arrived in Georgia. This is a pretty cool little cottage that I stay in when I'm here, belonging to some friends and clients. There's a lake just behind me, which you'll see in the morning. Anyway, it's been an 11.5-hour drive. I think 700 and something miles. I've stopped a few times, let Gunnar have a good run, and we have a little incident on the way back. But anyway, here now and ready for bed. You be a good man, Gunny. Go and have a good life. Perfect.
Cool beans, thanks so much.
No problem. So I am dog free. I almost feel like I've got a day off. And what better place to spend it than in Thomasville? I'm outside one of my favourite stores, and I'm pretty lucky really. I went to Gordy's in Houston yesterday, and I'm now going to Kevin's in Thomasville today. Thomasville's I've been here loads of times. It's just a lovely, pretty, old kind of town in South Georgia. We're about just north of the Florida state line, and yeah, so I'm going to go to Kevin's. I'm in the infamous gun room in Kevin's, which is just full of lovely old guns and new guns, all sorts of guns. So just a regular street in Thomasville, which just shows the kind of, got an ostrich, an elk, a zebra. So I'm in a taxidermy shop in the middle of town, which is pretty cool. And as you can see, there's some stuff on all the walls. I'm gonna flip the camera around and just show you. So having had a nice sort of time in Thomasville, I went to see my original Georgia clients yesterday, the Phipps family, who've got loads of my dogs. So surrounded by Mordor, Labradors and Spaniels yesterday. Anyway, it's 2:30 in the morning, USA time, so it's 8 o'clock. Coming out for 8 o'clock in Scotland. So I'm jumping out of bed at crack of dawn. I've got to drive to Atlanta, which is about 3.5, 4 hours away. I've got to get rid of my big redneck truck, and we've got a black Labrador called Goose flying in, along with a red Labrador girl called Aaron. So they are in London. They'll be getting on a flight now, and they are flying to New York. So basically I'm driving from Thomasville to Atlanta, getting on a flight to New York. I land at just middle of the day, and go and rent another car, drive around to cargo, and hopefully by then the two dogs will have arrived, and I'll be able to pick them up. As soon as I pick them up, I'm driving about 2.5 hours north of New York City to a place called Millbrook, which is kind of an old part of old sort of shooting part of New York State. So there's a few shooting clubs, hunting clubs, and we're dropping off Aaron, and we're going to go and see some of our old dogs, because Aaron is going to go and live with a couple of our older dogs. This is the 4th dog the gentleman's got from us. And then on Saturday, going to see a little Cocker Spaniel who we sent out here a couple of weeks ago without me coming. So he came before I came. So he's had a couple of weeks in his new home. We're going to go and see how he's getting on. And then going to see Waffle, going to see a few other dogs, dropping off Goose, and then heading home on Monday. So another quiet few days in my travels. But the end is in sight, and I'm very much looking forward to getting home early next week and back to a bit more sort of normality. Okay, off we go, long drive.
So it's 6:30 in the morning. I've just arrived at Atlanta. I'm leaving my home for the last week. My big old Dodge Ram truck. I'm leaving that here. Jumping on a flight to New York.
Off to the next adventure, meeting a couple of dogs. So I've got to gather up all my stuff and then head through to the airport. So I've gone from a Ram pickup to a Ford Bronco, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool truck. Oh, we can even take the roof panels off so I can enjoy the heat. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna get the vehicle set up for the dog crates and see if I can figure out how to use it. It's a glorious sunny day. It's probably 20 something degrees. It's probably a very similar temperature as it is in Scotland. So we're just gonna get this car sorted out, and then ready to get the dog boxes in. So there is one of them, and the other one will be coming through on a forklift. Coming through, there we go. There's the other one. Goosey. Hi Goosey. Hi Goosey. Hi Aaron. Hi Aaron. Aaron. Hello. Hello. Hi. Will I just get them out for a walk first? Perfect. There we go. Aaron and Goose. Welcome to America. Hey. So we're all good to go. I've got the dogs in their crate and behind the vehicle here, and we're going to head off to North New York, north of the city. So we've got about a 2-hour drive, depending on the traffic. Could be more because it's kind of getting later in the day. But we're going to head on our way and get these guys into their new homes. Well, you're going to feel at home here, aren't you, Aaron? It's like Red Dog Central. Lack of red dogs. Hello, girls. Hello.
All right, let's everybody. Aaron, come on. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Red Dog Central.
Oh, wow. What I get to look forward to. Yeah. No, little girl is a little girl. Yes, Isla. It's a little girl.
So, Isla, How old's Isla?
She's going to be 12 in August.
She looks great, there, doesn't she?
Doesn't she though, huh?
Yeah.
Jura's going to be
Jura?
6 in June.
Jura. Hello, Jura. Hey, it's your little niece. What do you think? It's interesting because looking at them, Isla doesn't care.
No.
Jura's a little nose out of joint.
Oh,
Jura-
big time.
Jura's
Big
a bit
time.
like, what the hell? What's
Big
this?
time. This
Look,
is,
she's like, what the hell's going on? Whereas
Yeah.
Isla's just like, oh, whatever.
yeah.
Jura's like, what? But I'm meant to be the little princess. Aren't you? Huh?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely spot on.
What's Isla? You just don't care.
Yes, I
You just sweet
know.
old girl, aren't you,
I
Isla?
know.
You're just a sweet old girl.
Yes, I know. Oh, I know. It's horrible being, you know, that nasty flight. Yeah. Oh, Jora, yes, honey, you're my second best girl. You're my second best girl, Jora. Yes, you are. Well, Isla's my best girl. Yes, she is. Yeah.
This is what I love about my job. Pride of place. 2 beautiful pictures, photographs of the older dogs in this house. And then there's one more previous one to this. And then little Aaron, no doubt, will have her space on the wall sometime in the future. I think I've done 2,500 miles in the car, and taken, 10 states, Colorado as well. I've taken, I've done 2,500 miles in the car, done a number of flights, and I'm ready to go home. And I couldn't be looking forward to it more. No doubt I will get home and hit the ground running because there'll be a million things to do. Young dogs, puppies being born, giving others at home who've been working really hard a little bit of a break, a little bit of time to breathe, because we're just busy at Mordor Gun Dogs. Anyway, I hope you've all enjoyed Oliver's story. It was lovely to spend the last 24 hours of my trip with Waffle, even though he had a broken rib, which we discovered while I was there. So I said we should take him to the vet. He was sore, found out that he's got a fractured rib, probably just from being Waffle and messing around. But poor little guy. Anyway, it was lovely to catch up with him and of course his owners. So I've got another trip back out in August, which is more of a reconnaissance type trip, and then another big trip out in October. So I'll tell you all about the plans for the October trip in another video and on our social media, because it looks like it could be a pretty exciting trip for us to share, but also for anyone in America who watches us or whatever. We're going to be doing some demonstrations and things, so it could be really interesting.
I hope you found that interesting, the weird and wonderful life of a dog trainer from Scotland. We've got another trip coming up, hopefully later in this year, in October or November, and hopefully we'll do some videos on that as well. It'll be slightly different. We'll be delivering some dogs, but hoping to do some demonstrations and different things, so we're going to document that as well. I hope you'll find this interesting, and remember, you get out what you put in, and on this trip I definitely put in a lot, so hopefully it comes back out again.